Looking for a van that works as hard as you do? Meet the Fiat Professional Doblo. With load capacity up to 1 ton and smart touches like rear parking sensors and Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Need flexibility? The third seat on Doblo has a load-through bulkhead to maximize its load length. Fiat Professional Doblo. Natural-born worker. With 0% APR and no minimum deposit. Business contract purchase on Doblo Alto Primo. Subject to status and availability. TNC's Stellantis Financial Services. Visit fiat.co.uk.
Evening. How's your night shift going? Just a quick check-in from Acorn Insurance, the taxi specialists. We've been by your side for over 40 years, helping new drivers earn a no-claims bonus from day one and accepting up to 9 years no claims from veteran cabbies. That's why we're the largest taxi insurance specialist in the UK. Find out more at acorninsure.co.uk/taxi. Bye for now. Acorn Insurance and Financial Services Limited is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Simon Marks is LBC's Washington correspondent, and he joins us on the line now. Hello, Simon.
Evening, Nick.
So a seventh member of the US Armed Forces has died in the conflict, is that right?
Yes, that is correct. That was confirmed earlier today by US Central Command and the Pentagon. They have not named the member of the armed forces that has raised the death toll to 7 now in this conflict. They say they are contacting next of kin. The only information that we have is that the slain soldier died a week after being wounded in an Iranian attack on a military base in Saudi Arabia, where US troops are stationed. So that indicates that the injuries were sustained early in the conflict. I mean, as things were getting underway last weekend, and of course the Iranians began reprisals for the incoming attacks they were receiving from both Israel and the United States, and attacking some of their own neighbors in the region, including Saudi Arabia. The Trump administration would like everyone to believe that this is all moving at a rapid clip and faster than the military planners had anticipated, although we still have absolutely no idea how long it's going to last. We know that at varying points, President Trump has spoken about an initial plan of maybe 4 or 5 weeks. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has spoken of a range of different numbers that go at the thick end of the wedge all the way up to 8 weeks of possible military engagement by the United States. But the word from the president this weekend was that this is going to continue for as long as it takes, and that the American public need to be ready for much more intense action in the days ahead by both the US and the Israeli militaries, following on from those just astonishing attacks on oil storage facilities in Tehran that left many residents of that city breathing in noxious fumes and smoke today, and basically enduring what was essentially crude oil rain that was pouring down on them, with all sorts of concerns about the health implications of that. The president has issued a message to the American people over his social media platform just within the last hour, saying short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for the USA and for world safety and peace. Only fools would think differently. Well, with the price of oil surging over $100 a barrel just in the last few hours, American motorists are already paying the price for this war. Diesel, the price at the pump rose over 70 cents a gallon in a single week last week. That's a record for price rises when it comes to diesel. And petrol wasn't that far behind. I mean, it was up around 43 cents a gallon across the country. Not record territory, but definitely concerning territory for a country that has been told by President Trump that it doesn't need to waste its time pursuing the Green New Scam, and that he is, of course, relaxing fuel standards for the country's car manufacturers. Forget about all of those electric vehicles. Let's all go back to our gas guzzlers. And yet here he is demonstrating why that in and of itself itself is a foolhardy strategy, given that he is simultaneously waging a war in Iran that has sent the price of oil soaring. So that's where we are on the day that Iran selected its new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the surviving son of the former supreme leader who was killed, of course, last Saturday, a man that the President of the United States has described as a lightweight. So you can take it from him. He's not impressed with this decision by the assembly of experts in Iran, even as the Israelis, of course, have publicly said that anybody who becomes the next supreme leader, or the one after that, or the one after that, they are going to go after and target for assassination.
Even if that person is selected by Donald Trump, because that's what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to have a hand personally in choosing the next leader of Iran. I mean, how deluded is that?
Well, he says he must have a role. It's more than want. He must be given a role in selecting the new leader of Iran. And, you know, we're going into the second full week of this, Nick, and we still really have no idea what it's about. So in that Truth Social posting tonight, he says that oil prices are going to drop rapidly when the destruction of Iran's nuclear threat is over. But this is the man who said that he destroyed Iran's nuclear threat last July.
Obliterated it.
And preventing Iran from getting access to a nuclear weapon is only one of several official objectives, including the eradication of the Iranian Navy, which has, I think, about 115 vessels, of which they claim they've eradicated north of 25, but certainly not the majority of them yet. And also it's about cutting off Iran's access to its stockpile of ballistic missiles. But as we've seen over the last week, I mean, the ballistic missiles are certainly one tool at their disposal, but drones are another thing altogether. And they've got almost a limitless supply of those, and they're being given targeting information by the Russians. The Russians are telling the Iranians where American forces are located, giving them information about how to target those American forces. And we're in the absolutely astonishing position here where the Trump administration doesn't seem to care that the Russians are actively working with the Iranians, trying to help them kill or injure American troops. Even if it's happening, it's not making a difference, said the White House press secretary. And Trump himself berated the Fox News White House correspondent, Pete Doocy, for even daring to ask him a question about Russia's role in this conflict. I think it was on Friday, calling it a stupid question, saying he was surprised that, you know, I have a lot of respect for you, but I'm surprised you raised that question. And he just completely ignored it and moved on to take another question from another reporter. So once again, we sit here being totally bamboozled by the nature of the relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, and still unable to identify the plan for how this conflict ends. They've tonight announced that they're evacuating diplomats from the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia. So, you know, on the one hand, the public is being asked to believe that everything's moving at a fantastic clip. You know, every time Pete Hegseth stands in front of a camera, he performs like a seal and sort of, you know, engages this ludicrous B-movie actor version of a defense secretary and tells the Americans that death and destruction is raining down on the Iranians and they've never seen anything like it. But on the other hand, we're going into the second full week of this, and they've just started evacuating diplomats from the embassy in Riyadh. So, you know, I think you have to look at this and wonder where all of this is going. Certainly Trump is rejecting the idea of Khamenei's son as the supreme leader, but he indicated last week in one of the many conversations he's had by phone with individual reporters that he was up for working with a cleric. He's not opposed to a clerical leader. So is this about regime change? Is this about doing another Venezuela? Does he even know what this is all about? I don't think we know.
Yes, and it's interesting that he might have had a fight with Fox News, but Fox News is still on his side, because in what they call the dignified transfer of the dead American military personnel that Donald Trump showed up to salute, he had his golf hat on, which caused some consternation, and Fox News, seeing that, played a clip of a previous time that Donald Trump had been saluting the dead when he didn't have a hat on, and then I think they apologized for it afterwards, but then did it again.
So they got the old archive out, which they used, many viewers believe, in an effort to pretend that the archive was what happened at Dover Air Force Base yesterday, so that they could spare any more of this controversy over Trump wearing the baseball hat and not removing the baseball hat as the caskets came off the plane. And then they apologized for it and said, amid a huge fuss, and said that this had been done inadvertently. Now, I've worked in a lot of television newsrooms. I've even, on occasion, back in the past, worked at Fox. And I know, and I can tell you that if the archival system is so efficient that you can very, very quickly lay hands on old footage of the president welcoming caskets back, as opposed to the actual stuff that you filmed only yesterday. Either I have not come across that kind of efficiency in archival systems in other newsrooms that I've worked at, or the archival system at Fox has improved dramatically in the many years since I was last on there.
Very good to talk to you, Simon.
Cheers,
As
Nick.
always, that's Simon Marks, LBC's Washington correspondent.